offshoreinsiders.com, and we're going to discuss why that is. Look, most of the successful systems, as a general rule of thumb, kind of fit under that umbrella of counterintuitive. And when you think about it, look, if what the public likes to think, the hotter and or better teams were the teams that covered the most, there wouldn't be any bookies around to take your action. And there's always a certain amount of regression to the mean. For the best teams to continue to cover, they're actually going to have to play even better than they have to date. And for the worst teams to be a good go against, they're going to actually have to play worse than they have to date. So really, the worst teams have the greatest upside, and the best teams have the biggest downside. But that's not how the public thinks, and that's good for you and me. Well, if you're a customer of mine, you're getting the sharpest plays in the industry. You got to know the exceptions to the rule. NBA totals, look, especially in recent years, they've got the scores skyrocketing. So as a result, the more, what is kind of the tendency of Joey Bag of Donuts, they like to bet high totals over the total. They say, look, this game looks like it's going to be high scoring. Of course, I'm going to bet the over. But yet in the NBA, that's proven to be true in previous years. And most of our under systems generally have pretty low totals. But there is a reasonable explanation as to why that is the exception to the rules. Of course, you got the inflated scores. And, like the most obvious rule change was where if you get an offensive rebound, that no longer resets to 24 seconds, and you can't even touch a guy. So there's obviously many new rules that have benefited the offenses. And as a result, though, of these inflated scores, the public is terrified of even games that look like they're going to be very low scoring. They're like, I'm not going to bet under 211 in this day and age. And even the guys that love to bet overs, they're going to start getting sticker shock. Once they see a 240 hung, they are a little bit hesitant to bet ridiculously high totals, at least relatively. Look, if you've been betting for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years plus, like me, you see a 240, and you're like, whoa, holy smokes. I'm used to, I remember the days when like a total of 215 would be pretty high. So I do think that the average player, they're still a little afraid to go too crazy on the over once you start seeing the upper 230s and even the 240. So that's why I think the NBA totals are probably the one and only exception to the rule, where high-scoring games generally do go over. Games that are expected to be high-scoring, I should say, and games that are expected to be low-scoring have been pretty good underplays over the years, and that's kind of more the intuitive thinking. Now, at offshoreinsiders.com, our basic conclusions about intuitive and counterintuitive thinking. Look, in sports handicapping, trusting your instincts, that's not very good advice. It may be in other parts of life, may or may not be, but not really when it comes to gambling, because at least most gamblers, their instincts are going to be, like I said, I got to bet with the much better team. I got to bet with a much hotter team. This game's going to be high scoring. Of course, I got to bet the over. And if that's what your instincts generally say, no, you don't actually want to do that. You got to go with facts. Odds makers know what those common beliefs are, or those common instincts are. The toughest bets to root for are generally the better bets. So yeah, that means if you've got a much colder team that's also an inferior team, as a general rule of thumb, they're going to be the pretty good bets. And keep in mind, we're also sponsored by DuffyGifts.com. Tremendous gifts for all occasions. Looking for a gift to buy your female? And I shouldn't even say that because I know I've got a lot of female clients. The percentages continue to skyrocket over the years. I'm so happy about that. But it's great for getting gifts for not just females, but males too. Some of you might know I'm a big-time food snob, and at DuffyGifts.com, these tremendous coolers if you want to take it to picnics or take it to tailgate parties. Great stuff to keep your drinks cold, your food warm, all that and more.